Hi kids! Today we will learn
more about light energy. So let's get started. Kids, we learned that we see any object because of the light that hits on it, reflects back, and that reflected light makes us see that object. So let's learn more about it. Does all the light hitting an object reflect back, or some of it? Let's learn. Actually, not all light is reflected back. Some of it is absorbed by the object. Here is an example. If we strike light on a solid object, say a bag, the light hitting the bag will not pass through it. It will be absorbed by the bag as it's a solid object. Very little amount of light will pass through them. This is why solid objects cast shadows, as light is not able to pass through them. The area exactly behind the bag is darker, as light is not able to pass through the bag. And this is what we call as shadow.
Transparent objects, light can completely pass through some objects. These objects are called transparent objects. And we can clearly see through transparent objects. Air, water, and clear glass are transparent. Nah, anak-anak, kita juga dapat melihat cahaya melalui objek seperti air, udara, ataupun gelas. Okay, now let's recheck this video about transparent objects.
Transparent objects. Objects that let all the light to pass through them are called transparent objects or clear objects, like any clear glass or clear plastic. Example, window panes, spectacles, car windshields, light bulb, thermometer, aquarium, transparency sheets, ice, and clean water are examples of transparent things. You can see the details of the objects on the other side of the transparent objects. It is because all the light passes through.
And now let's learn about translucent objects. Light can only partially pass through some objects. These objects are called translucent objects. And we can partially see through translucent objects like tissue paper, sunglasses, thin clothes, and dry water are translucent. Nah, anak-anak, cahaya juga dapat dilihat melalui translucent object atau benda yang dapat tembus pandang seperti sunglasses, tissue paper, thin clothes, or dirty water. So, let's learn about translucent object on this video.
Translucent objects. Translucent objects allow some light to pass through them, but not all light. Some light is absorbed or reflected. It can be seen through, but not completely. Tinted windows, frosted glass, sunglasses, wax papers, color liquids in a glass, oiled papers, colored syrups, and certain stones are examples of translucent objects.
Opaque objects. Light cannot pass at all through some objects. These objects are called opaque objects. We cannot see through opaque objects like cardboard, wood, books, and rocks are opaque. Nah, kita tidak dapat melihat cahaya melalui beberapa objek seperti lemari, kayu, ataupun buku, ataupun benda-benda yang tidak tembus pandang lainnya.
Opaque objects. Objects that do not let any light to pass through them are called opaque objects. Some of the light is reflected back and some is absorbed. Here are some examples of opaque objects.
Okay guys, today we are going to learn about eclipses. What is an eclipse? An eclipse involves the sun, the earth, and the moon. The earth revolves around the sun. The moon goes around the earth. When the three come in a straight line, one of the three gets hidden from view. Such an event in which one object in a space is hidden by another object is called an eclipse. And there are two kinds of eclipses, solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. Nah, anak-anak, apakah kalian tahu apa itu gerhana? Gerhana adalah peristiwa alam yang terjadi di mana terhalangnya sinar matahari oleh bumi atau bulan sehingga bumi atau bulan tidak mendapatkan sinar matahari. Maka dari itu, peristiwa tersebut dibedakan menjadi dua, yaitu gerhana matahari dan gerhana bulan. Nah, sekarang mari kita pelajari apa itu gerhana matahari. Solar eclipse. When the moon goes around the earth, it sometimes comes between the sun and the earth. When this happens, the moon blocks the light of the sun and the sun is hidden from view. This is called a solar eclipse. During a solar eclipse, the shadow of the moon falls on the earth. A solar eclipse happens during the daytime. As both the earth and the moon keep moving, a solar eclipse happens for a few minutes. Gerhana matahari adalah peristiwa terhalangnya sinar matahari yang menuju bumi oleh bulan. Pada saat itu, kedudukan matahari, bulan, dan bumi berada di satu garis yang sama. Bulan ada di antara bumi dan matahari. Nah, anak-anak, kalian bisa lihat posisi matahari, bulan, dan bumi ketika terjadi gerhana matahari. Lunar eclipse. At times, the earth comes between the sun and the moon, and the three are in one straight line. When this happens, the earth blocks the light from the sun to the moon. The earth's shadow falls on the moon, and this part of the moon cannot be seen. This is called a lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse lasts for a few minutes to a few hours. Nah, anak-anak, sedangkan gerhana bulan terjadi karena terhalangnya cahaya matahari yang menuju bulan oleh bumi. Sedangkan peristiwa ini terjadi saat kedudukan bumi berada di antara bulan dan matahari atau dalam satu garis lurus. Nah, anak-anak, beginilah posisi matahari, bumi, dan bulan ketika terjadi gerhana bulan. So, let's recheck this video to make you understand about a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse.
Align together, forming an eclipse. On Earth, we can see two types of eclipses: solar eclipse, like this one right here, and lunar eclipse, which would occur like this. I'll tell you about it step by step. A solar eclipse is produced when the moon comes between the Earth and the sun, blocking part of the sunlight or even the entire sun. This means that during daytime, the moon positions itself in front of the sun, covering it up. That's why from Earth, we see something similar to a ring of light. It's very important to know that to observe an eclipse, it's necessary to cover up your eyes using special eyewear. During a lunar eclipse, the Earth positions itself between the sun and the moon, blocking sun rays from reaching the Earth. During the eclipse, a shadow is formed and the moon becomes dark in our view, changing its color to red. This phenomenon is known as blood moon. And that's all about eclipses. It's very interesting, isn't it?
It's incredible.
Let's see. Read to me what you wrote to make sure you understood well.
An eclipse happens when the Earth, Sun, and Moon align together. We can observe two different types of eclipses from the Earth. Solar eclipses occur when the Moon comes between the Sun and the Earth, forming a shadow that covers the Earth's surface. Lunar eclipses happen when the Earth comes between the Sun and the Moon, forming a shadow that covers the lunar surface, changing the color of the Moon to copper red.